In today's episode, we're going to talk about something called micro goals. What are micro goals? Those are little tiny, minuscule goals that are so easy to do that you can't help but get them accomplished. The benefit of micro goals is that once you get started, you might end up doing just a little bit more and a little bit more, and the micro goals become habits. And habits are the way that we can accomplish really big life changing goals. I told my husband the other day that I was going to do an episode on micro goals, and his face lit up. He was like, "Ooh, micro goals. That sounds so cool. It sounds like micro goals would help you develop good habits." And I said, "Exactly. You are 100% correct." Hello and welcome. Danette here. Thank you for joining us on the Shine First Today podcast. If you're interested in learning how to be highly productive without feeling stressed out or overwhelmed, then please consider subscribing so that you can be informed when we release new episodes like this one. Before we get started, I want to mention that my free mini course, Fall Asleep Fast, is now available. We'll put a link to it in the description below. If you have trouble falling asleep at night because it might be the first quiet moment you've had during the day, then take a look at our free mini course. It gives you a ton of tips and suggestions to help you fall asleep fast. It's free and you can access it in the link below. In our last episode, we talked about redefining the SMART goals framework. We talked about setting big goals that are soul fulfilling and amazing. Once you've set that big goal that you want to achieve, now comes the time to fine tune and actually get the thing done. And the best way to do that is by setting micro goals. What I'd like you to do is think of your own amazing goal. Think of something big that you would like to accomplish and work with me through this episode. I will break down one of my big goals and into the smaller micro goal step. And I'll explain why that is such an effective technique to use to achieve goals. If you don't know this about me already, I am a huge fan of Simon Sinek. He is just amazing. And one of the things he asks us to do is define what is your why. When you have a big goal, when you think about this goal that you want to achieve, this goal that you have in your mind right now, what is your why? Why do you want to achieve it? For me, the goal that I want to talk about today is weight loss. I personally want to lose, and I'm embarrassed to say this, I personally want to lose 100 pounds. That is a big goal. And I've never done it before. But what is my why? Why do I want to lose weight now? And the reason for me is that I have another new grandchild coming, and I am so excited about that. And I want to be able to play on the ground with the new baby. I want to be able to keep up with the baby in the active times. And I don't want to be tired and I don't want to have health issues. So I want to be around. I want to be involved in the grandchild's life. This is my why for that goal. That's what I want you to do is think of your big goal and understand, why do you want to accomplish it? What is the benefit to you? A lot of times when we think of our goals, we think of our big goals, we say, oh, it's going to benefit this person, it's going to benefit that person. And that's okay, that's great, but how is it going to benefit you? It's okay to have a goal that focuses on improving yourself, giving yourself self love, like we've talked about in the past. So, how will this goal benefit you? What is your why? And let's start breaking it down into some smaller steps. For example, losing weight is actually just a mathematical formula. You use more calories than you consume, and you will lose weight. The problem with that, for me in the past, I've had the experience of doing yo-yo dieting. I'd try a diet, I'd lose 20 pounds, I'd go off the diet, and I'd gain the weight back. So, what I have to do now is establish micro goals. I have to do things that are so small that they become daily habits. They become part of me, part of my routine, and so that my brain doesn't think that I'm doing a diet. I want to build in habits that are going to last a lifetime because I think that's how you achieve any goal is we make it part of our daily routine. We make it part of our habits. Habits are the most important thing we can do to accomplish a goal. Creating micro goals are going to help lead us into habits. So what do I mean by that? When we're looking at a major goal that we want to accomplish, we can often see the big things that need to be done to get there. For example, I know that if I want to lose weight, I should be getting at least 10,000 steps a day. I should be tracking my food and keeping track of how many calories I'm eating. But if I try to go from my average, which was about 5,500 steps a day, to 10,000 steps a day, there's a big gap there. That's an extra 4,500 steps a day, which takes about 45 minutes. And it's very easy to look at that and say, I don't have time. So, to create a micro goal for myself, what I did was I said, I'm going to get on the treadmill first thing in the morning before I do anything else for 15 minutes. And 15 minutes is not a lot, it's not life changing by any means. It's very doable, but it's before I check email, before I get a cup of tea, before I engage with my husband or another family member. I'm going to get on the treadmill and walk for 15 minutes. And what I have found by setting that micro goal that is very small, very easy for me to accomplish, once I am on the treadmill, once I have my gym clothes on, I end up walking for 20 minutes, 25 minutes, 30 minutes. So here's a micro goal that once I got started, it expanded into doing a little bit more towards accomplishing the big goal. The other thing is we have a couple of weights and I have a yoga mat and I have a yoga app. So now when I get done doing the treadmill, then I do some exercises. I do yoga or I lift weights. And pretty soon, I'm now spending an hour. The goal was only 15 minutes. So when I hit that 15-minute mark on the treadmill, I feel like, hey, I've accomplished it. That's the benefit of setting a micro goal. Another example in this goal of trying to lose weight is tracking your food. And I have an app called Lose It, and I start off really well. I track everything that I eat for a day or 2, and then it becomes repetitive, and then I don't look at the app for a couple of weeks. So I said to myself, how can I set a micro goal that will allow me to track my food? Like, where am I going wrong in tracking? Why is it getting boring? And so I decided to set a micro goal of just tracking dinner. I thought what would give me good information on achieving my overall goal is let me just track dinner. And so after dinner, I open up the app and I key in dinner. What I found over the last week is that it's pretty easy to then add breakfast in. And once I have dinner and now I've got a complete day, and really the micro goal is I'm only trying to record dinner. We have taken this really big goal of losing 100 pounds and broken it down into these micro goals that are now turning into habits that are going to give us long term success. So I want you to think of your big goal. How can you turn it into a micro goal? In our last episode, we talked about SMART goals, and I talked about a goal that I have of being invited to speak and give a presentation in London. And this is a goal that I'm very excited about. I hope that it happens someday. And how can I break that down into some micro goals? It's one of those goals where I don't fully have control over accomplishing it. Other things have to happen for that goal to be achieved. So, what are the things that I can do? I did give a speech recently, and the sponsor of the speech agreed to give me a testimonial and professional photos to use on my website. So I can make a micro goal to go and connect with the sponsor, get the testimonial, get the photos, and put them on my website. That's a very small thing that I can do. What other types of goals can we break down? Let's say you want to write a book and be an author. In order to write a book, you have to write a manuscript. What you can do is dedicate a very small block of time towards writing. You can say, I'm going to write for 10 minutes a day. Pick a very small block of time. You can say, I'm going to write 100 words a day. Now, Dan Brown talks about when he wrote his first book, he wrote 1 page a day. Before he went to work, his goal was to write 1 page a day. That's what we can do for ourselves. Pick a very small micro goal that you can accomplish. The other thing I like to do here is set a specific time because on our phones, we can set alarms to go off at any times and we can put a label on the alarm. Take your micro goal of, let's say you want to write 200 words a day and you're going to do it every day at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. What will happen is when you go to sit down and write the 200 words, you will have your computer open, you will be in a safe space that you feel comfortable writing, a creative space. And once you start writing those 200 words and the ideas start flowing, you might find that you write 300 words that day, or 400 words, or 1,000. But if you had set the goal of writing 1,000 words, it might have felt overwhelming. You might have a really busy day. You might have a lot going on, especially if you have kids. Their schedules alone can be crazy to manage. So, setting a micro goal of 200 words or 10 minutes towards something, and then what you'll find is when you switch gears and get into that, you may write quite a bit more. Like it's has been happening with me with the exercise. I set a micro goal of walking on the treadmill for just 15 minutes, but by the time I'm done, it's been 45 minutes to an hour of exercise. The key is to get that motion started. Let's say you have a goal of wanting to 10x your time. This is one of my great passions right now is trying to understand the concept of 10xing our time. How can we delegate, eliminate, defer, all of those things so that it frees up our time so that we can enjoy our day and enjoy our lives? What you can do is set a micro goal of 10 minutes a day to identify one task that you want to delegate. What is one thing that is on your list of things to do? And if your list of things to do is anything like mine, you always have 40 or 50 things to do on the list. What is one thing that your spouse can do? What is one thing that your kids can do? How much is it to go on Fiverr and find someone to work as a virtual assistant to help you edit a podcast, for example. If you're feeling stressed out, if you're feeling overwhelmed, it's because you're in the habit of doing things, committing to do more than you're capable of doing. And it's not that you can't do it, it's just there's only so much time in the day. Setting a goal of 10xing your time is an amazing goal. Setting a micro goal to just delegate one task, just eliminate one task. If you do those two things every single day, eliminate one task and delegate one task, in a month, you're going to see a substantial improvement in your time. Now it's your turn. Take that big, amazing goal that we talked about in the beginning of the episode and see how you can break it down into its smallest component. What's the smallest thing you can do in 5 minutes, 10 minutes? And set an alarm on your phone so that you're doing that at the same time every day. And let that micro goal become a habit. And you will be amazed at how fast your goal is achieved. We did our last episode on setting those big, amazing goals. We reframed the SMART goal framework. I'll link to that episode here. Thank you for joining us, and I hope you have an amazing day.